Then the next question is, I saw in one of your older posts that you said some Japanese people get snobby on foreigners and that you felt a need to dye your hair black and style it just to fit in. So A, did that work for you? B, how did it make you feel? And C, if someone has naturally dark features, even if not Asian, do people think that's fitting into their standards? So A, did it work for me? Dyeing my hair black did work somewhat. You would get fewer like gasps and like, oh, 가진다, like when you got on the train. However, I am about 5'10" and about 175 centimeters tall. So I'm very tall and I stick out and I have a big nose. So that still sticks out. So it kind of works. Sometimes it's like looking at the back of my head because I used to have really short hair and people would assume I was a guy. So like just some Japanese guy who was tall, that would make sense. But if I like face them, they'd be like, ugh. B, how did it make you feel? I don't really feel any particular way about it. The only reason I really stopped dyeing my hair was out of laziness because my hair grows pretty fast and I didn't want to re-dye my roots every 2 weeks. So I was like, meh. And that's why this happened. C, the last one, if someone has naturally dark features, will they fit in more? Nope. No, you will not. In Japan, unless you are Yamato, like the most indigenous, and by indigenous I mean the people who came over from China and Korea, unless you are Yamato Japanese, no, you won't fit in. And even like ethnically Japanese people who don't look Yamato Japanese enough get crap. They get flack from other Japanese people. Like I know a couple of my guy friends, like one of them, he's really tall and he has kind of Caucasian features. He's completely Japanese, but has just slightly different features, and he gets crap from people and they're like, oh my god, are you a foreigner? And he's just like, no, I'm just born and raised Japan. And I do see kids teasing each other about it. Like you see a lot more kids, totally ethnically Japanese, but will have lighter hair. And kids will be like, oh my god, are you half? And the kids are like, no. Can you just leave me alone now? Or, you know, I've heard stories of kids being told to dye their hair. One of my ex-boyfriends had lighter hair naturally. And once again, 100% ethnically Japanese. He was told to dye his hair darker, to like a darker brown black to fit in with the school because his natural hair color was too light. Like, okay. This, I hope I don't get a bunch of asshole comments for answering this question, but somebody asked me this question, so I'm gonna answer it because I respect my viewers. Have you faced sexism towards you or other women here, and is it different from your country, my country being the States? I'm gonna kind of be reading from my computer on this. Certain cultural expectations make this a difficult question to answer. In my view, the sexism is very similar in Japan and the States in the way that it comes from a place of ignorance. However, because of deeply ingrained gender roles here, Japanese women may not take certain things as sexist as opposed to how a Western woman might. However, sexism is really still very much out in the open. And just to give an example, I'm going to quote an article about this. So here we go. Ayaka Shiomura, a 36-year-old member of the opposition Your Party, called for the Tokyo metropolitan government to support women who need assistance while pregnant or raising children during a June 18th assembly session. She also suggested that the government should help Japanese women who have fertility issues to conceive children. Japan is wrestling with a declining birth rate and growing elderly population. It has one of the lowest fertility rates in the world. While she was speaking, men in the section for the ruling Liberal Democratic Party, the LDP, began jeering at her with lines like, "Hey you, hurry up and get married," and "Can't you have babies?" So that's one example of that. Later on in the article, they mentioned two people who I highly dislike. LDP-backed Shintaro Ishihara, who was the governor of Tokyo from April 1999 to October of 2012, remarked in 2001, "It's a waste and a crime for women who have lost their reproductive powers to go on living." The current governor of Tokyo, I also hate this guy, Yoichi Masazoe, also backed by the LDP, has said in the past such classics as, "Women are not normal when they are on their period. They are abnormal. You can't possibly let them make critical decisions about the country during their periods, such as whether or not to go to war." He has also commented that women elected to office were all a bunch of old, middle-aged hags. Yeah. And as for the heckling incident, only one guy has come forward, and I quote, "Akihiro Suzuki, an assemblyman from the ruling LDP party, admitted to heckling fellow assembly member Ayaka Shiomura, who was from the minority Your Party, during her speech urging increased public support for pregnant Japanese women. Suzuki, who initially denied any involvement and condemned the harassment in an interview, publicly apologized to Shiomura. While admitting to making the first comment, 'You should get married,' Suzuki has denied making the second comment, 'Can't you even bear a child?' Shiomura accepted his apology but stated, 'I am positive that there were others besides Mr. Suzuki who made comments.' She says she hopes that others involved in the heckling will come forward as well. They haven't, by the way. When asked whether he would continue his position as an assembly member, Suzuki stated he has no plans to resign. 'I will stay on if I'm allowed to,' he replied. The incident last week has reignited the debate over sexism in the Japanese workplace. Women are paid on average 30% less than their male counterparts, according to statistics cited by the Japan's Prime Minister Shinzo Abe during an editorial last year announcing the launch of Womenomics. And I'll point my article sources down below. Also, in the way it parallels, sexism parallels how it does in the States, there's a lot of straight up sexual harassment on the street. And I got it really bad from one creepy dude, I would say back in 2014. And the thing is, the guy lives near me. I don't know if he still lives near me now, but he did at the time. And it was really, not cool, and it was really scary. One night I was coming home from work, and it was probably 10:30, and I was walking down the main road past out of the train station into my home, and this guy just comes up behind me and he's saying "Hey, one-san, do," and this, so the guy's propositioning for me for sex, and then he's asking me how much for one night, and I'm like, what the fuck, dude, what the fuck? So I was really creeped out, but at the same time I was like, I need to get away from this guy. So I started walking faster, and he kept following me. And so I kept telling him no, 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 no. And eventually I was like, I don't want this guy to follow me home because I live in a pretty dark street. So I went to a convenience store and just stood around for a while until he left. So I didn't realize the guy lived in my area until later, where I kept seeing the guy. I only saw him early mornings when I had to do a commute across the country and I had to catch a flight or something. But the thing is, this guy would only approach me if I was encumbered in some way, carrying a gigantic suitcase and looking at my watch trying to get to the train station on time. This guy would run past and be like, "Hey baby," and it was really obnoxious. And so when I got back in September, I think, 2014, I was going to a cosplay event and I only had a small suitcase with me, and he comes out of the convenience store and I see him and he does the same thing again. He's like, "Hey baby, how much?" And so I started screaming at him and threatening him, and just telling him to go f himself. He has not approached me since. I have seen him, and he actually started walking the other way to get away from me. But yeah, this guy was harassing me for 6 months straight. And yeah, that sucks. And I'm sure the big comments "Oh, why didn't you report it to the police?" Yeah, okay, I'm gonna go to the police and tell them a middle-aged Japanese man is harassing me. Yeah, that's gonna help. Yeah. Anyway, this person says, the next question, "I heard of many stories about creeps, like my last one, but has anyone paid a genuine, respectful compliment to you there without being gross?" First of all, in Japan, you're going to get a lot of tatemae compliments, and those are compliments to make small talk because they have no idea what else to say to you. Like, you'll say like arigato just one time, like, oh my god, your Japanese is so good, because you said one word. Like, yeah, okay, I can tell that's a totally sincere comment. Yeah, that's tatemae. But yeah, I probably get more creepy comments than genuine ones. It's generally things like heavy breathing old man leaning uncomfortably close in a situation where I professionally cannot back out and being like, beautiful, and it's like, leave me alone. However, on occasion, some very special people, and by that I mean like dudes I've dated, probably gave me the best compliments ever. Like, someone said, and I quote, "I love talking with you, you're so animated, and it really makes my day." That's a good compliment. Or, "I think you're really smart and I admire that," while talking to people about like history and politics. That's a good compliment. Also, Japanese old ladies give nice compliments. They're just because they're so sweet. Like, I used to have this landlord who was probably like 500 years old, and she's like, "You're such a sweet girl. Come, like, just come over here and have some cake with me." Like, she was the best.